How's it going, everyone? It's Daikin here, bringing you another Melty Blood Type Lumina video, and today we're going to be going over, is Moon Drive too strong within Melty Blood Type Lumina? So a lot of people are talking about this mechanic right now. A lot of people are frustrated with how this mechanic was actually utilized inside this game, how the developers actually program it to work. So we're going to go over the mechanic as a whole, everything it brings both offensively and defensively, and talk about, is the mechanic too strong, and talk about some ways you can actually deal with the mechanic. Let's go ahead and get started talking about Moon Drive. All right, so first talking about Moon Drive offensively. So Moon Drive is going to be B plus C. So whatever your B plus C buttons is, that is going to be how you activate it. And the first thing you're going to realize is your moon is going to turn red. Now, when you actually use this, as far as inside of moon skills, when you use moon skills, you see it take out a decent amount of your moon gauge. However, when you're in Moon Drive, it takes a considerably less amount, so you get to use more of your moon skills, which will play a big part into why people think this mechanic is so strong as well a little bit later. Also, offensively, this mechanic is going to give you more jumps. So right off the bat, you get a jump, and then you get an air dash and a second jump. So you get 2 jumps and an air dash of your choice of direction, and you can interchange how you want to do it. So I could double jump, now I can air dash, or I could jump, air dash, and then jump. When you are inside of Moon Drive, you actually gain access to a jump forward and back, and a triple jump. So I could jump once, forward, back, jump, and you can interchange these as long as you don't use the second jump. So I could jump forward, jump back, jump, and then once you use the third jump, you're locked. You can't use the back or forward. So make sure when you're using this, you don't actually use the third jump. Now, another cool thing about this is it also resets your actual jump abilities after you use all your options normally. So say I do something like jump, and then I jump and I use all my options. Well, now I can get access to my last jump right there. So I can jump back, I can jump forward. Now you can do all your options that you were missing once you activate it. So you gain access to additional movements. If you expend all your movements in the air, you gain access to those additional movements that you gain access to when you use Moon Drive at that moment. So say if you make a bad move in neutral and you're like, oh, he's about to punish me, let me use Moon Drive to like sort of get away a little bit better. So you could make yourself a little bit more safe in that sense. You could try to make a better escape. Now, the things you can cancel Moon Drive into offensively, there's quite a bit different things. So you can cancel Moon Drive into a lot of things. You could cancel from normals on block. You can cancel into them on hit on block. You could cancel to them it's from special moves. Even on whiff, you could cancel from special moves. And the only caveat to this, really, the only things you really can't cancel into are going to be whiff normals. So any normals outside of your A normals can be canceled into the Moon Drive, but other normals with can't, and moves that are going to be invul. So anything that has invul, like this right here, I can't cancel from this. Any other special moves you could do. Also EXs, you could cancel from EXs as well. As you can see, I can cancel that as long as it's not invincible. This one isn't invincible, but this one, his DP one, it is. So because this is invincible, I can't actually do anything from that. So as long as it's not an invincible one, you pretty much have free range to cancel from it. So this could make things that aren't necessarily safe, safe. So like say this overhead from Arcway, this isn't really safe, it's punishable, but now she could turn that into either a true block string or a frame trap, depending on how she pressed her button. If she put a slight delay or she pressed it right away, she can make it a true block string or a frame trap, depending on how she does it. So she turns a disadvantaged situation to her advantage offensively with this mechanic. Also with this mechanic, it allows you to basically extend combos because of it being a cancel. So, you know, if you do like wake up DP, you get the invul frames from the DP, and you could cancel in a Moon Drive and then pick it up for a whole combo. Just because it cancels. It's pretty much just like an animation cancel. It resets your character back to neutral after a slight pause. There's like a couple of frames that they're in a recoverable state, but it's very slight. It's like 2 frames. But besides that, you basically get a full combo from whatever you're canceling from. So you can extend combos that way. And once again, off supers as well. So if I did the super version, you could, you know, extend a combo from there as well. So offensively, these are the ways you're going to use it. Now, defensively, this is the thing that a lot of people don't like. So let's talk about how this thing actually works defensively. So as I briefly mentioned earlier in the video, this is basically used as an invul thing. So it actually has invul when you do this for a little bit, but it has a slight little bit of recovery, but you make up for it with what it does actually with your moon skills. So your moon skills now have clash frames on them, and this is what makes it super strong. But you can also just utilize the actual pause and the actual invul. So basically it pauses the game for a brief second. You see, this allows you to see exactly what your opponent is doing. So if your opponent was jumping at you, or you see your opponent was doing a normal or something, This allows you to see what they're doing and react accordingly. You can react with either a moon skill, a super, or something else that you want to do, because sometimes you actually just invul through what they're doing because of the invul frame. So just a quick example here with Shiki. I'm going to put a medium arc wave. She invul through it and then use the moon skill DP and punish me for trying to put a meaty on her. This is very frustrating for a lot of players. But not only this, but let's say if we were to wait for it, what if we knew it was coming? As you see, it's still hard to deal with, even when we know, because of the clash frame. So you just hit the clash frames because of the moon drive. So moon drive put clash frames on your moon skills, and this is what's frustrating for players to deal with. Now, what can you actually do about this is something that we are talking about here. That's the thing we're here for. What you can actually do about this. So the thing you can actually do is going to be shielding it. However, shielding it isn't always going to be something that's going to be necessarily easy. Now, one thing you should know about this game is when you actually clash with something, it considers it on hit. So if you know anything about something on hit in this game, especially if you're hitting with other normals like a 5B or something, then you would want to know that all hit normals pretty much, or a lot of your hit normals, can be jump canceled, right? Being able to jump cancel your normals is very important to know, because dealing with certain things like this allows you to jump shielded. And one thing about moon skills is if they are shielded, for example, if we just make Arquade do something like this, she cannot shield back. So I'm mashing shield. I'm mashing shield for her, and she can't shield back. And you see, that's the earliest possible shield she can do, is at that point right there. By the time she can shield back, you can already punish her. Same thing with this DP. So if we do the DP input, I'm going to mash shield. She can't shield back. She has the holding animation. And one other thing she could do is you could jump cancel these, as you see. So I'm going to mash jump. I'm mash jump, as you see for the recording. So I'm mashing jump for the recording. However, if you shield this, they cannot jump this. So they have to hold the recovery of the animations of whatever moon skill that they do. So shielding these is going to be a very important aspect. But there's another important aspect we could talk about that we're going to talk about a little bit later, that also helps us. So just dealing with the shielding right now. So we do the shielding thing. This will give us a guaranteed nice punish on the character from actually doing something. So shielding is something you could do. However, shielding could be a little bit of a risk, right? Because what if the person just decide to do a wake up throw? So this is where something you can utilize that the game actually told us about, and that's going to be the reversal. So let's go ahead and put this into practice. So as you can see there, I tried to put a meaty on Arcray once again, and she punished me because my button went through her because of the invul, and she was able to throw me out of my recovery. So once again, we are going to utilize the moon drive counter that the tutorial told us about to actually make her get invul through rather than us. And this will allow us to punish her for trying to do something like this. So let's do this scenario. So as you can see there, Arcway tried to actually throw me, but because of the reversal timing on the moon drive reversal, you can actually get invul through what she's trying to do. This can also help you versus things if she was trying to do a moon skill as well. So for example, I'm going to demonstrate a moon skill version of this, and then we're going to be able to actually see that she's doing moon skill, cancel, and be able to shield the moon skill accordingly. So as you can see from that scenario, I was able to even do the clash frames from the clash frames because of the slowdown, react to her doing an actual moon skill. I can visually see it. I can do the reversal from there. I can go into my moon drive and basically cancel my animation and go into a shield to punish her, because once again, if you shield it, then they can no longer do anything else outside of hold your punish. Now, what you actually punish with depends totally up to you as far as your resources that you have. So you can just do a regular shield punish, which is going to be a launcher, or you can do BC. Now, BC typically will give you more damage than a launcher. Some characters do have charge JC, so you can utilize that. For example, so we just showcase Arcade doing a button here. You can utilize the charge JC to do a follow-up combo like that, but mainly if you have the meter, this will be a better choice for optimizing your damage, because you just naturally get more damage from this BC as a starter. So once again, your opponent can't do anything to stop you from doing this, so this is going to be a guaranteed punish if they are doing moon skill. So just keep that in mind, that you can do that. And if they're doing throw and you're involing through a throw, then you could just pretty much press whatever you want and pretty much punish them for doing that, like your 2C or 5C, whatever is going to be like pretty much your best starter. You can pretty much do whatever you want at that point. So as we can see so far, Moon Drive is definitely a very important mechanic, not only for the defender who is trying to wake up with this, and that's the thing that people are having some annoyance with, but also for the person that's doing the offense, to have to try to counter what the person on the defense is trying to utilize it for. So it's very frustrating for, I know, people to deal with, because like I said, people are just, you know, mashing the clash frames, and it's very hard to deal with. And like, there's always the scenario of if you don't have if you don't have Moon Drive at your disposal, like say if your Moon Drive is gone, then what do you do? It's very frustrating. It's pretty hard to like do something at that point, right? There's very little options you have like when you don't actually have Moon Drive at your disposal to try to counter your opponent. However, there are a couple of things that you can try to do to make it to where it's a little bit more manageable for you. So we're going to talk about two scenarios that you should be aware of that you could try to utilize if you don't have it at your disposal. So the second to last thing we're going to talk about before we actually talk about the last thing, which is talking about after you knock down an opponent, is talking about what you can do if you have some meter available if you don't have the Moon Drive available. So the one thing about it is, while there are clash frames on it, it actually does pretty much lose to invul attack. So if you have invul attack at your disposal, then that is something you could do. It could be even a meterless reversal. So if you have the reactions to actually get out your meterless reversal, say a DP or something, then that is something you can use as well. But if you have a meter option that you can use that's invul, then this is something you can also use. So if it's a three bar one or 1 bar one, it doesn't matter. You can use this as well. So we're going to showcase. I'm going to do this one for Shiki just because it's the most easiest to do. So we're going to try to do that so I can showcase and demo that one for you guys. And as you can see, you can punish it just like that. So this is another option at your disposal you could try to utilize that can just help you get out of that situation so you don't get punished if you don't have a Moon Drive cancel at your disposal. So last thing to really talk about is what to do when you actually knock them down at the situation. So obviously, if they still have Moon Drive, then they can pretty much just wake up with this again, right? Like, what can you do to stop them from trying to wake up with this again? Well, there's a couple of things you can actually do to stop this. One thing for sure you can do is just throw it. So none of them really have invul, they just have clash frames. So even the DP ones, if we show Arcade just doing this, if she wakes up with it, you can throw this. If you're rat on her, you can throw it before she even gets in the air. You could just straight up just throw it. You just have to just, you know, wait until it does it, and then you could just throw it. So if you know they're gonna wake up with it right again, not the Moon Drive part itself, but if they're already inside of it, so you just know she's inside of it, she wakes up and you're like, okay, she's about to wake up with that, just throw it. You could just simply throw it. You could just go for a meaty throw when they wake up, and then bam, you'll stop that right there. There's another thing you can do, and this is for characters in particular that has charge moves on the ground. So if you're a character that's lucky enough to have a charge move on the ground like this, then you are in a good spot, because you can use the clash frames on your charge move to go through the clash frames of their move. Now, this is going to depend on the character, depending on how good it may be, but for the majority, most of these attacks usually have more clash frames in them than characters' moon skills. So let's showcase an example here with Arcade and Shiki. So if I was just to do a normal block string right here, this is something that you would have to be scared of, especially if you put delays between your block string. You just put a delay between your block string, and then if they're mashing it, you're just going to get hit by the clash frames from them. So what you can do if you have one of these charge moves is, once again, use your clash frames that looks like this. Just like that, you will go through theirs with the clash frames from your own charge attack. So if they do the moon skill, your charge attack should go through theirs with the clash frames that the actual charge attacks have compared to the charge frames that moon skills have. So majority of charge frames on these typically are going to be better than the charge frames on moon skills from my personal experience. So this is a technique that you can try to utilize as well. So overall, is moon drive too strong of a mechanic? It may be a bit too strong, as a lot of people have been saying, just because of the way that you can actually utilize it. You know, once you go into one, you can sort of just go into another, and then just go into another, and it's like it's just clash frame city the entire time. And like the only way out of it, if you block one, is like, you know, you have to shield it, but then even that's a risk, because then they could just run up and throw you rather than just actually going for another one, and it just makes a weird guessing game. But there are some counter plays, as you can see, and I think that makes for some interesting interactions within the game, at the very least at the moment. So, you know, just use the options that's available in the game right now. I think it is a strong mechanic, but there is no counterplay to it. And that just overall, once you understand that you can use your moon drive versus theirs, it makes it to where like the opponent is a little bit more hesitant to use theirs on defense once you establish that mind game of you're willing to use yours to stop theirs and stuff like that. So while it is strong, there are some things we can utilize versus it, just like other mechanics within the game, like shield with the shield RPS, how you don't have to play the wars, how you could just shield one time and then they try to shield back and you just wait for them, so it makes it to where they're scared to shield, and like it just creates another layer of the mind game. So once again, strong mechanics, but there are counterplays to them. Lastly, just talking about one other thing as far as people's annoyance with the mechanic, as far as it being too strong, I think it has to do with how many times this could happen, along with other defensive mechanics within the game. So you start the game with full moon meter once again, and because it only takes 50% to activate, that essentially means that it can happen between 2 to 3 times depending on how many stray hits happen within the match per person. That means there's up to 4 to 6 times that a person can activate within a match that you will see if you watch it. That's not including how many times people would actually use heat, because you only need 1 bar of heat to actually utilize that mechanic as well. So you calculate all this, and it's a lot of just defensive things happening on top of shield wars, and then of course, you know, just the other options. So you have shields, you have the heat, and you have the moon drive. And then when people are in moon drive, and like sometimes, you know, you just don't stop them in neutral, they actually just hit you, and all of a sudden then they're just going crazy with it. It's very hard to deal with this because they're just going ham. It's just moon drive after moon drive. It's very hard to stop, and it's like it just makes a mind game. So it really makes people frustrated when they don't stop it one time and a person keeps mashing it and then they don't have the answer right away. And it's a lot to deal with as far as all the mechanics defensively within the game just stacked upon each other. Anyway, as always, if you like anything I have to say, drop me a like, I really appreciate it. And if you want more from me, follow me on socials. Also, if you want to catch me live, follow me at /DykinXDan at Twitch as well. If you guys got any comments or questions, let me know down in the comments below section, as well, as I always like to have engaging discussions down there with you all. And also, don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications on so you know the next video goes live. As always, my name is Dykin, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.